I never imagined that chasing a dream could cost me everything. My name's Laura, I'm 28, and until a few months ago, I thought my life was on the verge of something big. I run a lifestyle blog, Laura's Glow, where I share fashion tips, DIY projects, and glimpses of my perfect life. It's not huge yet, just 15,000 followers, but the numbers are climbing, and I can feel the buzz. Every like, every comment, every share feels like a step closer to the kind of fame I've always wanted. The kind where people recognize me on the street, where brands send me free stuff, where I'm not just another face in the crowd. I live with Jake, my husband of 4 years, in a small but stylish apartment in Seattle. He's 30, a quiet guy who works as a freelance photographer, mostly shooting weddings and family portraits. Our place is a mix of my flair, bright throw pillows, a neon sign that says "Dream Big," a wall of Polaroids I've curated, and his practicality, neat stacks of camera gear, a coffee maker that's always on, a worn leather couch where he edits photos late into the night. The kitchen smells like his oatmeal in the mornings, and the living room echoes with my laughter when I film videos, my tripod set up by the window with the best natural light. Jake's my rock, always has been. We met at a friend's gallery opening 4 years ago. He was snapping pictures, I was networking, and our eyes met over a glass of cheap wine. He's steady, kind, with this crooked smile that used to make my heart race. He supports my blog, helps me set up shots, even edits my videos when I'm too tired. But lately, I've felt restless. His world is small, lenses, light meters, quiet nights in, while mine is expanding, buzzing with potential. I love him, I do, but sometimes I wonder if he's holding me back from the life I deserve. It started with a DM. I was scrolling through Instagram one night, Jake asleep beside me, his arm draped over my waist. A message popped up from Nicholas Vale. Yes, that Nicholas Vale, the influencer with 2 million followers, the guy who's been on every major podcast, the one who dates models and throws parties that make headlines. "Hey Laura," it read, "love your vibe. Let's collab sometime, DM me." My heart skipped. Nicholas Vale knew who I was. Me, a small-time blogger with a decent eye for aesthetics. I replied instantly, my fingers flying, "OMG, I'd love that. Thank you." He responded with a winking emoji, and just like that, a door opened. We started messaging daily, first about content ideas, then about life. He's 32, charismatic, with this effortless charm that comes through even in text. He told me about his penthouse in LA, his deals with luxury brands, the way he turned a hobby into an empire. I soaked it up, imagining myself beside him, my name trending, my face on billboards. Jake noticed my distraction. He'd ask about my late-night phone sessions, his brow furrowing, but I brushed him off. "Just work, babe," I'd say, kissing his cheek. "Gotta grow the brand." The turning point came at a networking event 3 weeks ago. I wore my favorite red dress, the one that hugs my figure and screams confidence, my hair styled in loose waves. Jake came with me, snapping photos for my Instagram, but he stayed in the background, chatting with other photographers. Nicholas was there, taller in person, his smile magnetic. He pulled me aside, his hand brushing my arm. "You're killing it tonight," he said, his voice low. "We should do a live collab, something spicy to boost your numbers." My pulse raced. Spicy. I knew what he meant, and a part of me wanted it, the attention, the fame, the rush. That night after Jake fell asleep, I messaged Nicholas again. "Let's make it happen. What do you have in mind?" His reply was bold, a late-night shoot at my place. Just us, could be intimate. My stomach flipped. Intimate, with Nicholas Vale. The idea was intoxicating, me on his arm, my follower count exploding. I typed back, "I'm in." I didn't think about Jake, about our vows, about the life we'd built. I thought about the likes, the comments, the validation. The shoot happened a week later. I told Jake I was meeting a brand sponsor, my life smooth as silk. Nicholas's penthouse was a dream, glass walls, a view of the city, a bed with silk sheets that screamed luxury. We filmed a casual video, me in a skimpy outfit, him flirting, our chemistry electric. But it didn't stop at filming. One thing led to another, and before I knew it, we were tangled in those sheets, his hands on me, his whispers in my ear. It was thrilling, wrong, and perfect all at once. I left at dawn, my phone buzzing with notifications. My post with him had already gained 5,000 likes. Back home, Jake was making coffee, his back to me. "Late night?" he asked, his tone neutral. "Yeah," I said, avoiding his eyes. "Big meeting, went well." He nodded, but I saw the doubt in his posture. My phone buzzed again. "Nicholas, you were amazing. Let's do it again." I smiled, my heart racing, but a pang of guilt hit me. I pushed it down. This was my chance, my big break. The next few weeks were a whirlwind. My follower count jumped to 25,000, then 30,000. Brands started reaching out, clothing lines, makeup companies, even a travel agency. Nicholas and I did more collabs, each one racier than the last, our chemistry a magnet for views. I posted selfies with him, captioned with flirty hashtags, my inbox flooding with praise. "You're glowing, Laura. Couple goals. Next big thing." I soaked it up, my ego swelling with every notification. But at home, things shifted. Jake grew quieter, his smiles rarer. He'd ask about my meetings, his eyes searching mine. "You're gone a lot," he said one night, stirring his oatmeal. "Everything okay with the blog?" "It's amazing," I said, forcing a grin. "Just busy growing it, you know how it is." He nodded, but his jaw tightened. I noticed him scrolling through my Instagram one evening, pausing on a photo of me and Nicholas at a rooftop party, my hand on his chest. "Nice shot," he said, his voice flat. I shrugged it off, but the tension lingered, a crack in the foundation we'd built. I started hiding things, deleting messages, locking my phone, making excuses. Nicholas pressured me for more videos, more intimacy, more exposure. "You're on the cusp, Laura," he'd say, his hand on my thigh. "One viral moment and you're set." I believed him, ignoring the voice in my head that whispered I was losing myself. I ignored Jake's late-night sighs, his unanswered questions, his attempts to reconnect. I was too busy chasing the dream. The breaking point came at a launch party for a new beauty brand. I wore a black sequin dress, my hair sleek, my confidence sky-high. Nicholas was my plus one, his arm around me as cameras flashed. Jake came too, at my insistence, but he stayed by the bar, nursing a drink. The room was packed, influencers, journalists, sponsors, all eyes on me and Nicholas as we posed for photos. My phone buzzed with live comments. "Laura's killing it." "Laura and Nick," I felt invincible. Then the screen behind the stage flickered. I turned, expecting a brand promo, but instead my messages with Nicholas filled the screen, every flirty text, every plan, every detail of our nights together. "Let's make it intimate." "You were amazing." "One more night and you'll blow up." The room went silent, then erupted in gasps and whispers. I froze, my heart dropping as I saw Jake at the bar, a remote in his hand, his face pale but resolute. "Laura," he said, his voice cutting through the noise, "I trusted you, but you chose this." He pressed a button, and a video played, me and Nicholas, tangled in those silk sheets, laughing, oblivious. The crowd gasped again, phones recording, my shame projected for all to see. "Jake, no," I screamed, lunging toward him, but security held me back. He dropped the remote and walked out, the door slamming behind him. Nicholas slipped away, his smile gone, leaving me alone as the room turned on me, boos, laughter, accusations. My phone buzzed with hate comments. "Cheater," "disgusting," "career over." I sank to the floor, the sequins digging into my skin, tears streaming down my face. My dream had turned into a nightmare, and it was all my fault. The morning after my first night with Nicholas, I woke up in our Seattle apartment with a mix of exhilaration and dread. My phone buzzed incessantly on the nightstand, the notifications piling up like a tidal wave. I grabbed it, my heart racing as I saw the numbers, 10,000 new followers overnight, my post with Nicholas tagged as trending, comments flooding in. "Obsessed with you too. Power couple alert. Laura, you're next." I couldn't stop smiling, the validation intoxicating, a drug I didn't know I needed. Jake was already up, his camera gear spread across the dining table as he prepped for a wedding shoot. The smell of his oatmeal filled the kitchen, a grounding contrast to the chaos in my mind. I slipped out of bed, my silk robe brushing my thighs, and padded over to him. "Morning," I said, kissing his cheek, trying to act normal. My voice sounded too bright, too forced, but he didn't seem to notice. "Morning," he replied, glancing up with that crooked smile I used to love. "You look happy. Good meeting last night." "Yeah, amazing," I said, my stomach twisting. I turned away to pour coffee, hiding the flush creeping up my neck. I think I'm finally breaking through, the blog blowing up. That's great, babe, he said, but there was a hesitancy in his tone, a question he didn't ask. I ignored it, scrolling through my phone instead, replying to comments, soaking in the attention. Nicholas texted me as I sipped my coffee. Last night was unreal. Let's do a follow-up shoot tomorrow, my place again? My pulse quickened. I glanced at Jake, his back to me as he adjusted a lens and typed back, absolutely. Can't wait. Over the next few days, I fell deeper into the whirlwind with Nicholas. We met at his penthouse again, the city lights glittering through the glass walls as we filmed another casual video, me in a low-cut top, him shirtless, our laughter staged but electric. The camera captured our chemistry, but the real sparks happened off-screen. We end up on his couch, his hands on my waist, his lips on mine, the thrill of it all drowning out the guilt that gnawed at me. Each time I left, my follower count spiked, 35, 000, 40,000, 50,000. Brands emailed me with offers. Fans sent me messages calling me their inspiration. I was flying, untouchable, on the edge of everything I'd ever wanted. But every time I came home, Jake was there, his presence a quiet reminder of what I was risking. He'd ask about my day, his voice soft, and I'd lie smooth, practiced lies that rolled off my tongue. Just a collab, I'd say, or networking with some influencers. He'd nod, but I saw the way his shoulders tensed, the way his eyes lingered on my phone when I left it on the counter. I started keeping it on silent, locking it with a new password he didn't know, deleting messages as soon as I read them. I told myself I was protecting him, that he wouldn't understand the business I was building. But deep down, I knew I was protecting myself, from his disappointment, from the truth. The cracks in our marriage grew wider with every day I spent with Nicholas. Jake started working longer hours, taking on more shoots, staying out late to edit photos. When he was home, he was distant, his usual warmth replaced by a quiet reserve. One night, as I edited a video in the living room, my tripod still up from a shoot, he sat across from me on the leather couch, a beer in his hand. "Laura," he said, his voice low, "we need to talk." I looked up, my heart sinking. "About what?" I asked, forcing a smile, though my hands were already trembling. He set the beer down, his eyes meeting mine. "You've been different. You're always on your phone, always gone. I know your blog, taking off, and I'm proud of you, but I feel like I'm losing you." His words hit me like a punch. I wanted to tell him everything, about Nicholas, about the nights in LA, about the lies I'd been weaving. But I couldn't. If I told him, I'd lose him, and I wasn't ready for that. Not yet. So I lied again, my voice steady despite the storm inside me. "I'm just busy, Jake. It's the blog. You know how much this means to me." He studied me, his gaze piercing. "I know, but I also know you're not telling me everything. I saw your Instagram, the comments, the photos with that guy, Nicholas. People are calling you a couple. Is there something I should know?" My throat tightened. "No," I said too quickly. "It's just for the brand, Jake. Collabs like that get attention. It's not real." He didn't look convinced, but he nodded, standing up. "Okay, I trust you, Laura, but I'm here, you know, if you need to talk." He walked to the bedroom, leaving me alone with my guilt. I stared at my laptop, the video paused on a frame of me laughing, my hair perfect, my smile radiant. But inside, I felt hollow. I'd just lied to the man who'd stood by me through every late-night edit, every failed post, every moment I doubted myself. And for what? For likes? For fame? I pushed the thought away, telling myself it was worth it. I was so close to my dream, I couldn't stop now. My follower count kept climbing, 60,000, 70,000, 80,000. Nicholas and I became the internet's favorite maybe couple, our flirty posts fueling speculation. We did a live Q&A together, answering questions while sipping wine on his balcony, his arm around me as the comments exploded. "Are you dating? So cute together. Laura, you're iconic." I laughed, playing into the rumors, while Nicholas whispered in my ear, "This is it, babe, you're going viral." He was right. The next day, a major beauty brand offered me a sponsorship deal, $10,000 for a single post. I screamed when I saw the email, jumping around the apartment while Jake was out shooting a family portrait. I called Nicholas immediately, my voice shaking with excitement. "I got a deal, a real one. This is happening." "Told you," he said, his voice smooth. "You're a star, Laura. Let's celebrate my place tonight." I hesitated, thinking of Jake, of the tension at home, but the high of success was too strong. "I'll be there," I said, already planning my outfit, a sleek black dress, heels that clicked with every step, a look that screamed, "I've made it." That night, I told Jake I had a brand meeting, my lie as polished as ever. He didn't question it, just nodded, his eyes distant. I drove to LA, the city lights blurring past me, my heart racing with anticipation. Nicholas greeted me with a glass of champagne, his penthouse glowing with candles. We celebrated, first with drinks, then with more, our bodies pressed together as the city hummed below us. I felt like I was on top of the world, untouchable, unstoppable. But the cracks in my perfect illusion started to show. One morning, as I scrolled through my comments, I noticed a shift. Amid the praise were darker messages. "What about your husband? You're a fake. Cheater." My stomach dropped. I deleted them, but they kept coming, a growing wave of suspicion. Someone had found an old photo of me and Jake on my blog, a candid shot from our wedding, and posted it in a gossip thread. "Laura's Glow is married. Why's she with Nicholas Vale?" I panicked, texting Nicholas. "People are asking about Jake. What do I do?" His reply was cold. "Ignore it. It'll blow over. Focus on the next post." I wanted to believe him, but the guilt I'd buried started to surface. I looked at Jake that night as he edited photos, his brow furrowed in concentration, and felt a pang of regret. He didn't deserve this, but I didn't stop. I couldn't. I was too close to my dream. Jake started asking more questions, his tone sharper. "Who's texting you at midnight?" he'd say, glancing at my phone. "Why do you lock it now?" I'd brush him off, but the suspicion in his eyes grew. One night, he grabbed my phone while I was in the shower, and I came out to find him staring at the lock screen, his jaw tight. "What's the password, Laura?" he asked, his voice low. "It's my phone, Jake," I snapped, snatching it back. "Stop being paranoid." He stared at me, his eyes cold. "I'm not the one hiding something." He walked away, and I stood there, my heart pounding. I knew he was on to me, but I didn't stop. I couldn't stop. The beauty brand launch party was the biggest event of my career so far. I spent days planning my look, black sequin dress, diamond earrings, a bold red lip. Nicholas insisted on being my plus one, promising it would seal our status. I hesitated, knowing Jake would be there, but Nicholas's words echoed. "One viral moment and you're set." I agreed, telling myself I could handle it. I asked Jake to come too, hoping his presence would ease my guilt. "It'll be fun," I said, touching his arm. "You can take photos for my blog." He agreed, but his smile was forced, his eyes distant. I ignored the warning signs, focusing on the party, on the fame waiting for me. The day before the event, I met Nicholas for a strategy session. We ended up in his bed again, his whispers of fame drowning out my doubts. "Tomorrow's your night," he said, kissing my neck. "You'll be unstoppable." I believed him, my ambition blinding me to the storm brewing at home. That evening, as I packed my clutch for the party, Jake sat on the couch, watching me. "Laura," he said, his voice heavy, "are you sure about this event? You've been off. I'm worried." I turned, forcing a smile. "I'm fine, Jake. It's just a big night for me. You'll see, it'll all be worth it." He stood, stepping closer, his eyes searching mine. "I hope so, because I love you, Laura, but I can't keep feeling like I'm losing you." His words pierced me, but I pushed them down, kissing his cheek. "You're not losing me, I promise." It was the biggest lie I'd ever told, and as I walked out the door, I felt the weight of it settle on my shoulders. The night of the beauty brand launch party arrived like a storm I couldn't escape. I stood in front of the mirror, smoothing the black sequin dress that glittered under the bedroom lights, my diamond earrings catching the glow. My hair was sleek, my red lipstick bold, my heels clicking with every step as I practiced my confident smile. This was my moment, the culmination of weeks of collabs with Nicholas, the sponsorship deal, the climb to 80,000 followers. I felt like a star, untouchable, ready to shine. Jake emerged from the bathroom, dressed in a simple button-up and jeans, his camera slung over his shoulder. He looked at me, his eyes lingering, a mix of pride and something else, worry, maybe doubt. "You look amazing," he said, his voice quiet. "This is a big night for you." "Thanks," I replied, forcing a smile, adjusting my clutch. "It's going to be huge, you'll see." I didn't tell him about Nicholas being my plus one, about the plan to make a splash with our chemistry. I kissed his cheek, the scent of his cologne familiar and grounding, but I pushed the guilt down. This was for my career, my dream. He'd understand later. We drove to the venue, a sleek downtown loft with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Seattle's skyline. The room buzzed with influencers, journalists, and brand reps, the air thick with perfume and ambition. A massive screen dominated the back wall, set to display the brand's promo video, while a DJ spun beats that vibrated through the floor. I spotted Nicholas near the bar, his white suit pristine, his smile dazzling as he waved me over. My pulse raced as I turned to Jake. "I need to network," I said. "You okay taking photos?" He nodded, his jaw tight. "Sure, go shine." His tone was flat, but I didn't linger, weaving through the crowd to Nicholas. His arm slid around my waist as cameras flashed, and I leaned into him, playing the part. "Ready to make history?" he whispered, his breath warm against my ear. "More than ready," I replied, my voice steady despite the knot in my stomach. The night unfolded like a dream at first. We posed for photos, sipped champagne, laughed for the cameras. My phone buzzed with live comments. "Laura and Nick are everything. This collab is fire. She's the next big thing." I felt invincible, Nicholas's hand on my lower back, his flirty remarks fueling the narrative we'd built. The brand rep pulled me aside, handing me a contract for the $10,000 deal, her smile wide. "You're a hit, Laura. This is just the beginning." I glanced at Jake, who stood by the bar, his camera clicking, his face unreadable. He'd taken a few shots of me and Nicholas, his movements mechanical, like he was going through the motions. I waved at him, but he didn't wave back, just nodded and turned away. A flicker of unease passed through me, but I shook it off. This was my night. I couldn't let him ruin it. Nicholas suggested a live Instagram story, and we huddled together, his arm around me as I held the phone. "Hey, Glow fam," I chirped, tilting the camera to show the crowd. "This is it, my big moment with the amazing Nicholas Vale." The comments flooded in hearts, fire emojis, questions about our relationship. I laughed, playing coy, while Nicholas winked at the camera. It was perfect, a moment I'd replay forever. But then I saw Jake near the stage, talking to a tech guy, his hands gesturing toward the screen. My stomach twisted. What was he doing? I excused myself from Nicholas, my heels clicking as I approached. "Jake, what's going on?" I asked, my voice low. He looked at me, his eyes cold, a USB drive in his hand. "Just making sure the truth gets out," he said, his tone cutting. "You've been lying to me, Laura, to everyone." "Jake, stop," I hissed, grabbing his arm. "This is my night, don't do this." He pulled away, his face hardening. "Your night? What about our marriage? What about me?" He turned and handed the USB to the tech guy, who plugged it into the system. My heart sank as the screen flickered, but I didn't know what was coming, yet. The room hushed as the brand's promo video ended, and the screen lit up with something else, my messages with Nicholas. Line after line scrolled across the wall. "Let's make it intimate. You were amazing last night. One more night and you'll blow up." The crowd gasped, whispers turning to murmurs as photos followed, me in Nicholas's penthouse, us on his balcony, us in bed, tangled in those silk sheets. My stomach dropped, my face burning as I recognized the angles. Jake must have hacked my cloud, pulled every damning piece of evidence. "Laura," Jake's voice boomed over the speakers, amplified for all to hear. He stepped onto the stage, his camera forgotten, his eyes locked on me. "I trusted you, I supported you, but you chose fame over us. These are your words, your actions. I'm done pretending." The room erupted, gasps, shouts, phones recording every second. I lunged toward him, my heels catching on the carpet. "Jake, no, please." But security grabbed me, holding me back as the screen played a video, me and Nicholas laughing, kissing, oblivious to the camera that must have been hidden. The crowd's reaction turned ugly, boos, jeers, someone yelling, "Cheater!" My phone buzzed with hate comments flooding in live. Disgusting? Fake influencer. Career over. Nicholas slipped away, his white suit disappearing into the crowd, leaving me alone with my shame. I looked at Jake, tears streaming down my face, but he turned away, walking off the stage, the door slamming behind him. The brand rep approached, her smile gone. "Laura, we're pulling the deal. This isn't what we signed up for." I sank to my knees, the sequins digging into my skin, the noise of the room fatting into a dull roar. My dream, my beautiful, shining dream, had shattered, and it was all because of me. The aftermath was a blur. People circled me, some snapping photos, others whispering, their eyes judgmental. I stumbled to my feet, my clutch falling, my phone spilling out. I grabbed it, my hands shaking as I saw the notifications, thousands of unfollows, comments turning vicious. "You don't deserve this platform. Poor Jake. Hope your husband leaves you." My account, once a source of pride, was now a battlefield. I tried calling Nicholas, but he didn't answer. I texted, "We need to fix this." "Help me." His reply was curt, "This is on you, Laura. I'm out." My stomach churned. He'd used me, fed my ambition, and now he was gone, leaving me to face the wreckage alone. I searched for Jake, pushing through the crowd, my heels breaking as I ran outside. The night air hit me, cold and unforgiving, but he was gone, his car already disappeared from the lot. I called him, my voice breaking through sobs. "Jake, please, let me explain. I'm sorry, I messed up. Come back." Voicemail. I texted, "I love you. I didn't mean to hurt you. Please talk to me." No reply. Back inside, the screen still flickered with my shame, the crowd thinning as people left, their whispers following me. A journalist approached, her recorder out. "Laura, care to comment on the scandal?" I shook my head, pushing past her, my dignity in tatters. I drove home in a daze, the sequin dress now a mockery, my makeup streaked with tears. The apartment was dark when I walked in, the neon "Dream Big" sign casting a harsh glow. Jake's camera gear was gone, his oatmeal bowl cleaned, his side of the bed empty. A note sat on the counter, his handwriting jagged. "I can't stay. I need space. Don't call me." I sank onto the couch, the leather cold against my skin, and cried until my throat burned. My phone buzzed, Sarah, my best friend, calling. "Laura, what the hell happened? I saw the live stream. Are you okay?" "No," I sobbed, my voice raw. "Jake left. Nicholas abandoned me. Everyone hates me. I lost everything." "Start from the beginning," she said, her tone gentle but firm. I told her everything, the lies, the nights with Nicholas, the ambition that blinded me. "Oh, Laura," she sighed, "you chased fame, but you threw away the one person who really loved you." Her words cut deep. I thought fame would fill the void, make me whole. But now, with my followers turning on me, my career crumbling, and Jake gone, I felt emptier than ever. I scrolled through my account, watching the numbers drop, 70, 000, 60,000, 50,000. Brands canceled deals, sponsors pulled out. My dream had turned to dust, and I had no one to blame but myself. The next day, I stayed in bed, the curtains drawn, the apartment silent except for my occasional sobs. I replayed the party in my mind. The screen, the gasps, Jake's voice, Nicholas's betrayal. I thought about every moment I'd ignored Jake's love, his late-night edits, his quiet support, the way he'd hold me when I was stressed. I'd traded it all for a fleeting high, a spotlight that burned out the moment I stepped into it. I grabbed my laptop, intending to delete my account, but paused on a photo, me and Jake at a beach last summer, his arm around me, my smile genuine. The comments were gone now, replaced by silence, but the memory stung. I'd had everything, and I'd thrown it away. My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. "You deserve this, Laura. Karma's a bitch." I threw it across the room, the screen cracking, but the damage was already done. I thought about calling my mom, but what would I say? That I'd ruined my marriage, my reputation, my life for a few thousand likes. I curled up under the covers, the neon sign flickering, and let the tears come. I'd wanted to be seen, to be famous, but now all I felt was shame. Shame I couldn't escape. Shame I'd inflicted on myself. Desperate, I drove to Jake's favorite coffee shop, hopping to find him. He wasn't there, but the barista recognized me, her eyes narrowing. "You're that influencer, right? Saw what happened. Rough night." I nodded, humiliated, and left without a word. I called Sarah again, my voice breaking. "I need to fix this. I need Jake back. What do I do?" "Start by being honest," she said. "But Laura, he might not forgive you. You hurt him publicly. Give him time and work on yourself. That's all you can do." I nodded, though she couldn't see me, and hung up. I went home, determined to try, but the weight of my actions pressed down, heavier with every step. The screen of my phone stared back, cracked but still functional, a symbol of my broken dream. The days after the party blurred into a haze of shame and regret. I stayed in the apartment, the curtains drawn, the neon "Dream Big" sign unplugged and shoved into a closet where I wouldn't have to look at it. The silence was deafening, no more notifications, no more emails from brands, no more laughter filling the space. Jake's absence was a gaping wound, his camera gear gone, his oatmeal bowl missing from the sink, the quiet hum of his editing software replaced by nothing. I'd ruined everything, and the weight of it crushed me. My phone, its screen cracked from when I'd thrown it, sat on the coffee table like a ticking bomb. I couldn't bring myself to look at it for the first day, but by the second I caved. My Instagram account was a graveyard, down to 30,000 followers, a fraction of what I'd had. The comments were vicious. "You're a fraud. Hope you're happy, cheater. Karma got you good." I deleted the app, but the damage was done. My inbox was flooded with emails from brands canceling deals, sponsors pulling out, even a few hate messages from former fans. My career, my dream, was over. I tried calling Jake again, my hands trembling as I dialed his number. Voicemail every time. "Jake, please," I'd sob into the phone, my voice raw. "I'm so sorry, I messed up, I love you, please just talk to me." No reply. I texted him 2 long paragraphs begging for forgiveness, but the little "delivered" under my messages never turned to read. He was gone, and I didn't know if he'd ever come back. I called Sarah, desperate for someone to talk to. She picked up on the 3rd ring, her voice cautious. "Laura, I've been worried about you. Are you okay?" "No," I said, my voice breaking. "I've lost everything, Sarah. Jake, my career, my reputation. I don't know what to do." She sighed, her tone gentle but firm. "You need to face what you've done, Laura. You hurt Jake, publicly, cruelly. And you hurt yourself, chasing something that wasn't worth it. Maybe it's time to stop running from the truth and start fixing what you can." Her words stung, but they were true. I'd been running toward fame, away from my marriage, away from the person I used to be. "How do I fix this?" I asked, my voice small. "Start with honesty," she said, "and give Jake space. He needs it. And you need to work on yourself, not for him, but for you." I hung up, her advice echoing in my mind. Honesty, space, work on myself. But how? I didn't even know who I was anymore without the glow of my blog, without the validation of likes and comments. I couldn't just sit there and do nothing. I drove to Jake's favorite coffee shop again, hopping to catch him, but he wasn't there. The barista, the same one from before, gave me a pitying look. "He hasn't been in since the party," she said, wiping down the counter. "Heard he's staying with a friend downtown." Downtown, that gave me a lead. I drove to his best friend Ethan's apartment, a small loft near the waterfront. I knocked, my heart pounding, and Ethan answered, his expression hard. "Laura," he said, crossing his arms. "What do you want?" "Is Jake here?" I asked, my voice trembling. "I need to see him, please." Ethan sighed, stepping aside. "He's here, but he doesn't want to talk to you. He's a mess, Laura. What you did, it broke him." "I know," I said, tears welling up. "I'm so sorry. I just need to tell him that. Please, just 5 minutes." Ethan hesitated, then nodded. "Wait here." He disappeared inside, and I stood on the doorstep, my hands twisting together, the cold biting at my skin. A minute later, Jake appeared, his face pale, his eyes red. He looked at me, and the hurt in his gaze cut deeper than any comment online. "Laura," he said, his voice low, "what do you want?" "I'm sorry," I blurted, stepping closer. "I messed up, Jake. I got caught up in the fame, in Nicholas, in everything. But I love you. I've always loved you. Please, give me a chance to make this right. He shook his head, his jaw tight. You humiliated me, Laura, in front of everyone. You didn't just cheat, you made a spectacle of it. I can't trust you anymore. I don't even know who you are. I'm still me, I said, sobbing. I'm the girl who loved you, who married you. I lost myself, but I can find my way back. Please let me try. He looked away, his hands in his pockets. I need time, Laura. I don't know if I can forgive you. I've already talked to a lawyer. I think we need to separate. The word hit me like a punch. Separate, I whispered, my voice breaking. You mean divorce? Maybe, he said, his voice steady but pained. I don't know yet, but I can't stay with you right now. I need to figure out who I am without you. I nodded, tears streaming down my face. Okay, I'll give you space, but I'll fight for us, Jake. I'll wait for you. He didn't reply, just turned and walked back inside, the door closing softly behind him. I stood there, the cold wrapping around me, and cried until my chest ached. Back home, the reality of my career's collapse hit harder. My follower count dropped to 20,000, then 15,000, back to where I'd started, but with none of the hope I'd once had. A gossip blog posted about the scandal, the headline brutal, Laura's glow extinguished, influencer caught cheating at brand launch. The article spread, and soon, every corner of the internet seemed to know my shame. Old friends unfollowed me, brands I'd worked with issued statements distancing themselves. My dream of fame had turned into infamy. I tried to salvage what I could, posting an apology video from the apartment, my voice shaky, my makeup-free face raw. I'm sorry, I said, staring into the camera. I made a terrible mistake. I hurt my husband, my fans, everyone. I take full responsibility and I'm stepping away to focus on myself. I uploaded it, but the response was merciless. More hate, more unfollows, comments like too little, too late, and you don't deserve forgiveness. I deleted the video, my hands shaking, and shut my laptop. It was over. Laura's glow was dead. Weeks passed and I tried to rebuild. I got a part-time job at a local boutique, folding clothes, ringing up customers, avoiding eye contact with anyone who might recognize me. The owner, a kind older woman named Margaret, didn't ask questions, but I saw the pity in her eyes. I moved out of the apartment, too many memories, and into a tiny studio, the walls bare, the air stale. I sold my designer clothes, my ring light, my tripod, anything that reminded me of my blog. I kept Jake's hoodie, though wearing it to bed, the scent of him fatting but still there. I started therapy, recommended by Sarah. My therapist, Dr. Ellis, was blunt but fair. You chased external validation, he said, his pen tapping his notepad. You need to find worth within yourself, not from others. I nodded, but it was hard. Every day felt like wading through quicksand, my guilt a weight I couldn't shed. I wrote letters to Jake, pouring out my heart, sending them to Ethan's address. I'm sorry, I'm changing, I miss you. No reply. I saw a post on Ethan's Instagram, Jake at a park, smiling faintly, a new camera in his hands. He was healing, moving on, while I was stuck in the wreckage I'd created. One rainy afternoon, my phone rang, Jake's number. I answered, my heart pounding. Laura, he said, his voice calm but distant. We need to talk. Can you meet me at the pier? I drove to the pier, the rain soaking through my jacket, my hands trembling. Jake stood by the railing, the city skyline gray behind him. He looked better, stronger, more at peace. I've been thinking, he said, turning to me. I can't get past what you did, Laura. I've tried, but I can't. I'm filing for divorce. I nodded, tears mixing with the rain. I understand, I whispered. I'll always love you, Jake. I'm so sorry. He handed me a small box, my wedding ring, the one I'd stopped wearing during my rise. Take care of yourself, he said, and walked away, his figure fading into the rain. Months later, I was still in my studio, but I'd started sketching again, not for likes, but for me. I volunteered at a community center, helping kids with art, finding a quiet joy in their laughter. I didn't have a blog, didn't have followers, didn't have Jake. But I had myself, broken but healing, learning to live with the price I'd paid. I walked by the pier one evening, the sunset painting the water gold. I thought about Jake, hoping he'd found happiness. And for the first time, I felt a flicker of hope, not for fame, but for redemption, for a life rebuilt on truth.